What's up, YouTube? This is Casey coming back at you guys for another financial video nugget. So, I want to talk to you guys about the number one wealth killer in America today. So, there are a lot of people who will point to a lot of things that are outside of our control, such as wages aren't equaling inflation, stagnation with our economy, with our growth, with the companies being a lot tighter with their hirings and their budgets, and all of those would be very valid points. But, and this is a big but, one of the biggest reasons that people have issues with building wealth and with your month-to-month, day-to-day budgets are your car loans. Has anyone ever actually sat down? Any of you are listening to this and actually sat down and written out how much money you've actually spent on your car or on cars in the past 5 years? Any of you? Well, if you have, I'll tell you, you're probably in the top 1 to 5% of the people in America. And if you haven't, and then we got some growth to do, and that's why you guys are watching this channel. So I want to kind of really bring some insight into exactly how much a car will be a wealth killer and the different ways and aspects that it'll actually do that. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at this. Some of the loan statistics that talk about just how much we love our cars. We owe more than $1.16 trillion in auto loans as of March of this year, and this is coming from LendingTree.com. If you take a look, the average loan size has increased since December 2018 by 6.5%. So, a car that was $30,000 last year is now, worth $1,500 more this year. And that's going up considerably every year. If you guys take a look, the average car loan is $37,000. Let me repeat that again. The average car loan for new vehicles is $37,000. Now keep in mind, this doesn't factor in the interest that you're going to pay on that loan, doesn't factor in the origination fees, doesn't factor in the tax, titles, and license. It doesn't factor in depreciation. It doesn't factor in the gas. It doesn't factor in maintenance. It doesn't factor in repair cost. Just the loan, just the amount of the car, just to get it on the into your house or your apartment, $37,000. Okay, average used car is $20,000. And if you ask me, I still think that's a lot of money, but it's a hell of a lot more reasonable than 37,000. That's almost twice the price. Now, why is this so important? I mean, if you take a look at this, the average car monthly payment is $550 for a new car. Are you kidding me? $550 for a new car? And let me tell you something. And I know people, I have friends of mine who have a $800 car note, $900 car note. You go look at the new Teslas. New Teslas are $950 a month, and it's crazy because when you look around, there are just tons of them on the road everywhere. Listen, if you can comfortably afford it, great. But make no mistake, car, auto loan companies, banks will lend to you knowing that you can't afford a car. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that just because you get a car loan, that must mean that you are worthy of the car loan or that you can qualify for the car. Because otherwise, why would they lend me the money? Not understanding that that's what banks do. It is their job to lend money to people. And if so long as you barely can qualify, they're going to send you a car. I had a friend of mine. She makes $28,000 at one point, some years ago, and she had very good credit. And she said, "You know what, Casey? The bank gave me a loan for $51,000." So let me say that again. She made a total of $28,000 that year, and they gave her a car loan for $50,000. She could qualify for Mercedes Benz. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so if we take a look here, you know, USA Today is pointing to the average car loan being $550 a month, and this is just for the car month. Excuse me, the car payment. Let's take a look at the average total cost. Excuse me, total cost of ownership of, let's say, a 2019 BMW 4 Series. Okay, so what you guys have to understand is that when you purchase a car, you don't just want to care about the car payment. You want to care about the overall total cost of ownership of a vehicle. And that's a lot of things that go into that. So a tax credit, they're only really going to get a tax credit if you buy a new car. If you guys don't know already, let me just be very clear to you. I never and will never, ever, ever buy a new car. I've owned quite a few cars in my life. I've never bought new. I never will. I don't care how much money I have or how much money I make. Even if I am a millionaire and I'm rolling in the dough like Mr. Scrooge, I will never purchase a new car ever. Okay, now I got that out of the way. So let's take a look at this. TCO, BMW, tax credit, nothing because that's no, that's all based on the manufacturer if they're offering anything. Insurance cost. All right, so $1,600 you're going to be paying a year coming out of your income just to be able to insure the cost. And keep in mind this is average. Okay, maintenance costs you won't have anything because it'll be a new car. Repairs shouldn't have anything because again these are all new. But take a look at these huge numbers down here. Taxes and fees. You pay almost $3,000 just in taxes and fees to even be able to own the car. That's how much the government says, yeah, 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 we need our money. Give us the money. All right. The cash price in the car is $47,000. The taxes is 3,000. Let's just say 3,000 to make it nice even number. All right. You're going to pay $2,500 in finance fees. So you've paid over $5,000. Could you imagine going to your bank account and somebody said, "Hey, listen, I need about $400 from you a month," and they go, "What do you mean $400 from me? That's crazy." Just because I said so. Because, well, what am I going to get for that? Nothing. You're not going to get anything. Well, that's what taxes, fees, and financing is. You give somebody $400 a month. That's another car note just to be able to own the car. That's of $47,000, and then we're not even going to get into depreciation. All right, so this car is $47,000. If you guys don't know, BMWs, and I don't want to pick on BMW, but I do want to pick on BMW because I think they're kind of overrated. But this is just one example. There's a lot of different car manufacturers that are like this, particularly the German manufacturers, Mercedes, Audi, and all that stuff. But $47,000 for the car. You take a look here, depreciation is 13 and a half. So what that means is that you finance this car for $47,000. And as you already know, you're going to actually be financing more than that because you're going to have the taxes and the fees that you're going to pay up front and you're going to have the financing. And then you turn around and by the end of the year, that car that's $47,000 is only worth now about $34,000. Now you got to also ask yourself this question. How much have you paid down on that car? Well, it all depends on the car loan, right? It actually all depends on how much you've actually paid for the car loan. Okay, so that's let's just say you go with the 40 month. Let's say we go with the news, and let's just say you get the 5% interest rate. I don't know. So if we take a look here, all right, we go here, we go all the way. Let's say you got the car, this is as of the 21st of July, and we go all the way into the 21st, 2020. Boom, $36,000 on 47,000. But if you take a look, you have paid $200, $400, $500, $700, $1,000 in interest. That's $200 a month just in interest and like money in the pocket. All right, then it just keeps adding up and adding up and adding up and adding up. And then by the time you get over into the year, $47,000, you know you have paid off $11,000 on the car. Okay, you paid for $11,000, but the car has depreciated 13 and a half. And you have to also remember that you just paid financing and taxes and fees, and you've also paid the insurance. But let's just say for the car, that's another $5,000 right there. So you are still way upside down on this vehicle. Not to mention you have fuel costs and whatnot. So you have to be thinking about you're paying on average about $750 a month for a vehicle. Now, this is absolutely one of the number one wealth killers in America, hands down. Dave Ramsey, who I actually follow, he's a very, very sound, financial guy. I've read his entire book in a few days. He talks about, this is in 2000. He tweeted in 2016, and this is 2019 now. The average car payment is $500. Well, he says that's straight up stupid. If you invested that by retirement, that's $5 million. Okay, that's $5 million in retirement through a car note. All right, and then we're not going to talk about the negative equity as well. The negative equity that you actually end up paying because what happens here is that when people go and they actually trade in their cars, most of the time you're upside down on the car. Okay, and every time you buy a vehicle, new or used, but especially new, and you buy a high depreciating vehicle, What happens is that car drops like a rock the moment you drive it off the lot. You get the car, you've been driving it for 2 or 3, 4 years. You're tired of driving the car because something else new came out. And then you go to the dealer and say, "Hey, Mr. Dealer, I want to trade in my car." Of course, you're going to be upside down on the car unless you've made significant payments. But even if you've made significant payments because the car's appreciating so fast, you're shelling out extra money nonstop to try to stay on pace with the depreciating value of that car. That's all money that should be making you money in the stock market or in your high yield savings account, which I have talked about in one of my previous videos. If you haven't already watched, please watch that. So that's money you're just shelling out nonstop. Take a look at this. In 2017, and they said the amount owed on a new car purchase, 5130. So you've lost all the money depreciation, you lost all the money in tags and titles and license, you've lost all the money in fees, you've paid all the money in interest, thousands of dollars that you've paid. I mean, this is just crazy money. You're literally just going to the bank, withdrawing in the bank, setting it on fire and throwing it in the trash. You might literally just go to Wells Fargo today or go to Wells Fargo tomorrow and say, "Hey, yeah, I want to take out $200." Take it out and then just tear it up and throw it into the trash. And do that once a month. Because that's literally what you're doing when you go and you pay all this interest on these vehicles and this negative equity. You're burning money, literally. And then you have the car for 3 or 4 years. You turn around and you say, "Hey, you know what? Listen, that car that's upside down, that's depreciated like a rock. Yeah, man, listen, I don't have the money to cover that. So I'll tell you what, once you put me into a new car and then just take that $5,130 on average, yours is probably more, and roll that into my new car loan." Oh, gee, I would be happy to do that. I mean, you just paid taxes, titles, and license 3 or 4 years ago, $2,000. And yeah, we know you just paid, how much is this? We know you just paid, lost 13,000 depreciation this year, and 3,700 this year, and 3,000 this year. But year four, you want to go get your new car? Happy to do it. You know, that's $28,000. Excuse me, that's $18,000. Total cost of ownership 63 by this time. That's 30. That's literally another new car in total cost of ownership. $39,000 in 3 years. Can you imagine having $40,000 extra? Or you can say half of that 15, 20,000? Okay, so you take that money, you turn around, you roll it into a new loan. So now what happens? You're going to get your new car that's also going to then reset the whole depreciation over like a rock. All the money that you've spent previously was thrown away. And now you're starting the whole cycle over. And now you're starting even worse than before because you're $5,000 upside down on the new car. And then you're complaining about why you don't have any money left over. Like this is a problem. And it has been a problem. And let me tell you something. I'm guilty of it. All right. I owned the BMW 3 Series convertible. And I had the car for 6 months. It was one of the worst decisions I ever had in my life. It was traumatizing, and I couldn't wait to get rid of it. Do you know how much money I lost when I went to trade that car in? I'll give you guys some numbers. I got the car for $36,000, and to me, I thought I was balling. You know, right? I mean, I thought I was with the Tesla S P100D owners. You couldn't tell me any different. And I went and traded the car in, and the best trade-in value that I could get for that car was $31,000. I lost $4,500 on that car and my trading value. Think about that. Let that sink in. And that was in 6 months. So you guys again, when you're getting a vehicle, you have to take in consideration everything. So now let me also go to the next thing as I'm switching through all my screens here. Okay, let me go back to this here. All right. So let's say they said the average cost is $36,000, and let's say a 4 month lease term, for 48 months lease term. Now let me also give you guys another something to take into consideration. Your car payment, specifically the car payment. I don't know if you guys have done the math on this, but if you actually take a look at what your car payments should and wouldn't be, just by literally taking a look at how much more money you could save by getting a car that's probably more affordable, more practical. Look at this. A $25,000 car, a car payment is $576. The car payment goes up $150 by changing the numbers just that much. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, could you imagine if someone came to you and said, "Hey, listen, do you mind if we just give you an extra $150 a month?" What do you mean? Well, just because we just want to give it to you. Yeah, sure, why not? Now, I don't know about you guys, but a $25,000 car is a nice car. It's a nice SUV. It's a nice truck. It's all of that, right? I don't think there's anything that anyone will need to do, whether you have a 6 or 7 people family or whether you are just yourself and you want to get you a nice sports car for $25,000. That's a lot of money for a vehicle, especially when you factor in all of the additional cost. All right, so let's take a look at this also. I got another screen for you guys, and this is some flipping through the screens here. Take a look at this. Jalopnik.com has a list of all of um, the biggest appreciating vehicles on the market right now in terms of class. Late model cars with the highest appreciation. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Again, not to pick up BMW, but the facts are the facts. BMW 5 Series, Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW Ford Taurus, because no one likes Ford Tauruses, they should go away. Actually, I think Ford's getting rid of those cars. I think they stopped manufacturing them, but don't quote me. Um, Chrysler, surprise, surprise, Volkswagen, Audi, Cadillac, Buick. I kind of like Buicks, but I'm boring, so what can I say? I don't own one, but I think they're nice, practical, comfortable cars. I mean, look at this. BMW 52% depreciation. 50%, and this isn't 3 years. So you went out and, this means 50%, that means you got the car at $60,000. Okay? So we already talked about the depreciation factor of it. How much money you paid in interest and tax and titles and license and gas and repair costs. We didn't even get into the fact that BMW is specific than the German cars, that they break down more than any car on the road. So that nice fancy car that you have, used or new, well, after about 2 or 3 years, everyone knows the moment the warranty goes out, you got to get rid of it because you're going to be looking at another six, seven, $800. They talked about the repair cost is about an average of $1,100 a year just to keep the car running. All right. So this is the number one reason people are losing wealth. It is your car. You're paying a lot of money. You're overfinancing the vehicles you can't afford, and it's killing you. It's absolutely killing you. What is wrong with the $15,000 car? What's wrong with that, right? I mean, listen, if you go out and get a $15,000 car and you're like, yeah, I got a crazy, crazy monthly payment, but man, look at this. It's only got a 3-year loan, and look at how little interest you pay on this car loan. Now, me personally, I think this is aggressive. I don't see anything wrong with a 40-month loan, but my general rule of thumb is that if you have to get a car longer than 4 years, you cannot afford the car. Period. Period. You can't afford it. All right. I mean, look at, again, I want to go back up to this again. Let's just say $30,000, 48 months. $700 a month you're paying on the 5% interest. Every single month, you are taking $125 and you're setting it on fire. And by the end of the year, you've burned $1,500 in 11 months, in 12 months. And the car is worth less. You guys got to let that sink in. All right. $125. But if you turn around and you get a $15,000 car, right? Because you're smart and you go to 40-month loan, look at that. $63 in interest. That's a hell of a lot less money. And that money you can take and put in a high yield savings account. You can put it into some stocks, put it into some bonds, some mutual funds, some ETFs. You can put it in the peer-to-peer lending, put it in anywhere. And you have to just see this as money that you're not throwing it away. You're investing it for your future, your kids' future. You're investing it for a rainy day. You lose your job. Things like this happen. And you know what also happens when you get this car? It's like a domino effect. Well, because you purchased a cheaper car, and more than likely it should be a Japanese car, a Toyota, a Camry, a Honda, something like that. You're gonna pay less money in taxes. You're gonna pay less finance charges. You're gonna pay the car faster. You're going to pay less money in interest. I mean, it's a domino effect. You're going to pay less money in insurance. I mean, you're looking at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month, every single month for the cost of the car. Not to mention, you're going to pay the car faster. So this is absolutely the number one wealth killer in America, hands down. And if you guys are trying to get a hold of your finances, you got to get a hold of this first. Get a hold of your car notes. You do that, you get a hold of your life. If you guys haven't already, please take the time to subscribe to the channel. I cannot grow. I can't continue to give you guys good quality content and bring these financial video nuggets to you guys. If you don't subscribe, hit the like button and comment. Let me know what you guys think. Am I being a little too harsh? Did I leave something out? Let me know what you guys have. Are you one of those people that are really frugal and you've spent well below your means? Or are you one of those people who are kind of splurging? You kind of have a status car and the car note's killing you right now. You're looking for ways to get out of it. So let me know what you guys think. Subscribe, leave the likes, comments in the bottom, and thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later. Bye bye.